Well, hey, Facebook and beyond. I'm TU Knapp, and I am thrilled to pieces to be here today with my dear friend, Dr. Michael Gross.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Michael has a powerful message for everyone today, and even I don't know the topic, which we forgot to share, but that's okay. We were chatting just a minute ago, and he always has such valuable information. So I'm going to get right to the heart of the matter because I like to introduce him and give him credit where credit is due, and then I'm going to mute. Okay. And I will put his contact information in the chat so that everybody can access it later. Okay. We really appreciate everybody coming on, and we're going to get right to this. This is the only part that I script because I don't want to mess up anything, okay? I ad lib anyway, but here we go, okay? Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael assists others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their own intuitive abilities. He currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. Hang on a minute. I have to flip my page. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. Michael remains humble, knowing that the work he does all comes from God, the true source. He lives in Lakewood, Washington, and he is phenomenal at channeling the information from Spirit. I'm truly honored to be working with him. And I'm going to go ahead and welcome Dr. Michael Gross to our Facebook Live and our YouTube and wherever else this goes. We really are thrilled to have you here. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you so much for joining us. I never know really what I'm going to be channeling or talking about to the last minute. But what I'd like to enjoy and what I'd like to share with you, and by the way, this is unrehearsed, so sometimes if I mispronounce a word or say something, I will correct myself. But it's the gift that we all have called the gifts of discernment. And that's so important. And if we look at dis means separate, cern is to understand. And so if we disconnect ourselves from the rhetoric that's around us, especially these days, there's so much chaos going on in every country, politically, emotionally, otherwise. We see right now what's happening in the Middle East and all the rhetoric we're hearing. Discernment really is a gift we all have. It's innate and it's all part of us. But somehow or another, we've begun to ignore it. We've begun to look the other way. And we've begun to, I guess they talk in political talking heads, listening to what they say. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But that gift of discernment comes from where? Comes from your soul. And your soul knows fact from fiction. And many times we really aren't listening to the thoughts of our soul, but we are tied into our ego or our emotions or our feelings. First, we have to all know that old tired cliche, but it's so true. God don't make no junk. No matter who you are, what your background is, you are a beautiful soul. And within your soul, you were created out of love, by love, from love, and with love. And you've heard me mention this before, but I feel that the true source really wants to me wants me to reiterate it, to remind you that. And that we are all equal in a beautiful, wonderful way. So how are we all equal? Well, it is our essence and it is our vibrations and our frequencies. It all emanates from the same place, and that is from the true source. And by that I mean our vibration and energy was conceived out of love. And once we embrace love, one thing or one point is very important, and that is nothing negative can live in the energy of love. But how often do we discern what's a loving thought? Sometimes I with people who are very blunt, and sometimes it pushes my button. But then again, I look at, okay, they're blunt. So what am I to learn from this? Meaning, what am I to discern? Is it their own belief system that they're fostering upon me? Are they kind of trying to control and manipulate me? Or do they mean well? And most of the time, they mean well, or they think they mean well. And if you listen to that voice of discernment, which comes from your soul, you'll figure out or know whether they're ego or not ego, or the direction in life they're trying to foster upon us. How do we gain knowledge and information? Well, we gain information from YouTube today, books, talking to people, and also through our experiences. And I looked at my life, and I went through quite a bit of trauma, a lot of judgmentalness from others, and so on, even the path that I'm walking. But I never gave up. And in the early days of my spiritual path, lots of judgment, lots of negativity. And I asked the true source, why did I go through this? And the true source said, to prepare you for what you're doing now. But that not only applies to me, Michael, but it applies to each one of you. Because everything you've gone through in your youth, no matter what it was or is, or what you're experiencing, you have the discernment to say, what am I to learn from this? That's one of my favorite expressions. What am I to learn from this? And the most important point that you need to understand is it's building character and strength. And unfortunately, we learn more from trials and tribulations than we do from compliments. We all want to be complimented, we all want to be accepted. However, why aren't we all accepted and viewed as a loving person going through an experience in life and discern that this experience in life is empowering us? Instead, we either let our ego get involved. I'm great, I'm wonderful, or whatever. Or we feel hurt and wounded. And if we discern why we feel hurt and wounded, it's something we need to learn. And using a favorite theme of mine, we all came to learn about self worth, self love, and self esteem. There was a song many years ago, the greatest love of all is loving yourself. I think it may have been Whitney Houston, but I'm not sure. But if we learn to love ourselves and see the beauty within us, it's within us. You don't need anybody to acknowledge it because you know deep within your heart whether you're doing the right thing or not. That's part of your discernment. You really, really know. And you really know when you're hurting somebody. And then sometimes we hurt somebody not intentionally, but then we have to discern we've hurt them and own up to it and say, listen, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but I just needed to express this. And if I'm wrong, forgive me. And give the other person to defend themselves. And once they defend themselves, you'll have that discernment. And I've heard so many people say, I talked about something and, I've talked about, they say, I can't. And I go, you won't. Or they'll make an excuse, well, because I do this, well, because I do that. And you just listen patiently and say, okay, you think that's right action. And then when they get really mad at you, I push their button. I remember several years ago, I was reading about the TSA in New York City, and the luggage was going through and it was inspected, and people had their watches and jewelry stolen and so on. And there were a couple of the TSA workers knew somebody was doing it, but they didn't say a word. Of course, we got to protect the brotherhood and sisterhood. And they finally caught the man. And they asked him why to do it. Well, you didn't pay me enough money, so I had to make up the difference. He justified that. How sad that is. Nobody is able to be stuck in something unless they allow them to be stuck. In other words, no one is a prisoner of what their belief system is unless they believe they deserve to be a prisoner. Think about that. So, are you a master of your fate or a prisoner of your fears? Not all of us can be doctors, lawyers, or geniuses, but all of us can be successful in life. And the gift of discernment says, well, how do you measure success? Think about that. Well, let's see, you can have your fancy cars, can't take that with you. You can have your beautiful homes, can't take that with you. You can have your beautiful jewelry, can't take that with you. What can you take with you? Discern that. What can I take with me? And if you bother to look, say, these are the things that I've learned in life. These are the knowledge that I've gained through trial and error. And then discern what's your epitaph. How have you affected your family and friends and others? And what have you taught them? And what have you taught yourself? We are, as a humanity, so much in a hurry to do everything so quickly and looking everything that'll bring us joy and happiness. And unfortunately, it has to do with materiality. There's nothing wrong with materiality. I like the finer things of life. And I like to travel, meet new people, and I like nice clothes, and so on and so forth. But do you really think a $4,000 handbag or a $2,000 pair of shoes or a designer outfit, whether you're a man or a woman, is making you different? Has it changed you? Or are you feeding your ego? I know Tia wants to impart some thoughts.
I do. Thank you, Michael. You mentioned being a prisoner of your fear. And I was wondering, along with the other things that you're sharing, would you go a little bit beyond that and describe when we recognize that we're actually in that fear and being the prisoner? Because that was something you really helped me with, and I think it might be good for the people to hear.
Thank you. Well, that's a very good point. So, when we
Mhm.
talk about it being a prisoner of your fear, what is it that you've discerned in your life that you're afraid to move forward or afraid to look at or afraid to let go of? There's something within you that says, no, I can't do this, I can't, or it's going to end up with egg on my face, or whatever it is. If you take time to realize that whatever this fear is, it's something you need to learn. And I always likened it to this. I've had a sliver in my finger. And what we did, we took a needle and we put it on the stove so it would turn blue and sterilize it. And then you would pick away at it. Oh, it would hurt like heck. Then finally you get a tweezer or whatever and you pick out the sliver. Or sometimes, oh, I don't want to go through this pain. And this is what I'm liking it to. So you leave the sliver in there and it bothers you. Then it doesn't bother you too much. Then it becomes infected. Then your finger or wherever the sliver is, double or triples inside, is full of all the toxins and poisons. And finally, you got no choice. You got to dig it out or go to the hospital. It hurts like heck. And then you go, why didn't I do this at the inception? Why didn't I do this much earlier? I wouldn't have had this much pain. But the fear or the pain that you're afraid to move forward, that's stopping you from achieving your greatness within you. What is the fear? It's just an illusion. Fear, false evidence appearing as real. It's the illusion of something that doesn't exist. It's the illusion of something you've embraced, either from your family, friends, or religiosity or something. And if you bother to discern, and let's say dissect it for a moment using discernment, you realize, well, what am I to get from this? Why am I hanging on to it? What's going to happen if I let go? Well, people may judge me. I may lose my job. I may lose this relationship. I might not be successful. People hate me. And those are the thoughts we have. Then we look the other side of the coin. well, then I won't live in this fear and be a prisoner of this fear. And I'll be free to create my life or whatever I desire to do. If you put those thoughts together, you'll realize the most important point, and that is, who the heck is in control of your life? Who is it? Is it your fear, your doubts, your egos? Really? Can you accomplish anything? Think about it. You go out to eat and choose whatever you want to eat. You go out and buy clothes, choose whatever clothes you want. And if you rent an apartment or buy a house, you choose that. You buy a car, you choose that. Everything you have a choice of. And I hear, yes, but I wanted this 10,000 square foot house. Wow. Well, does that make you any better of a person? I read about these movie stars that have, you know, 25, 30,000 square foot house and 14 bedrooms and 23 bathrooms. I go, what do you need 23 bathrooms and 14 bedrooms? I don't know. And they have all these fancy houses. Does that make them a better person than you? Think about it. Does it? And what is their truth? And what is their belief system? Warren Buffett, I believe he lives in Des Moines, Iowa, but I'm not sure. He has the same house he bought 25 years ago, and he drives a used or an older Cadillac. That's it. He can afford anything, but he just likes to enjoy life. You make life simple. When I bought the house that I have now, and I looked at a house twice the size, and I was thinking, instead of 3 bedrooms, maybe it had 4 bedrooms, and that everything was a little bit bigger. And I went, I'm a single guy. Do I need this? And it's going to cost me more to heat, more to air condition, higher taxes. House is the fancier. That going to make me any better a person? And I discern what's really important. And that's what we need to look at our lives, because you see, we're at a precipice. In everything you're doing, discern whether this is it my ego or is it my soul? And you're probably thinking, well, how can I discern whether it's my ego or my soul? And it's very simple. The ego says, do this, do that. People love you more, respect you more, they'll honor you more, show you more successful, they'll worship you more, they'll have more respect for you or whatever. And then the soul goes, isn't this perfect for you right now? So you have the freedom that whatever this house or whatever you doing doesn't own you. You own it. Think about that. I look at people that buy beautiful cars, and some can afford it. But then I think about, well, if I had a Rolls Royce, which I really don't want, I worked for a boss who let me drive his, or I had all these fancy cars, is that going to change me? Think about your life right now. What's going to change your life? What do you need to do to discern the direction of your life? Now, all of us have passion and all of us have goals, but those passions and goals are governed by what you believe is important to you. That's so important, because your direction in life is determined by your discernment and by not your soul, but by your ego. And you're probably wondering, well, why are you saying your ego? Because it's self-fulfilling. You have to feel important. You have to feel accepted. Yet you look at Mother Teresa. She chose poverty. She chose to help all those souls. And what is her epitaph? That she expressed love and grace and healing. Pretty powerful. So when you birth out of your body and you are a multimillionaire, how's that going to make you different than Mother Teresa? Or somebody that's a janitor but has a loving family and has fun and humor? Another important point, I know Tia wants to say something, but it's really important. And I was talking to my son, and in those days I was bringing up my children, and I have a daughter and a son. You want money? I had some businesses. You got to work in the businesses. And I was with my son last year, and he said, Dad, I'm doing the same thing that you made me do. If I wanted money, I had to work in the businesses. And I learned the value of the dollar and learned the value of working smarter and learned so many things that made me successful today. Think about that. Think about the lesson that they learned because I was not a trillionaire and gave him a fancy car. I watched on Dr. Phil, and this young girl said, I deserve, and she wanted a $80,000 car when she was 16 years old, and her mother was going to give her a Beamer, and that's not good enough for her. I went, oh my gosh, what has this parent taught her daughter? Think about that. So the gift you give them is to discern and realize that whatever their goal in life, help them achieve that goal as long as it's right action and correct exchange. Go ahead, Tio. You wanted to say something.
I do. Uh, when we deal with our own personal issues, isn't it also sometimes where we buy those beautiful things, whether it's a car or a fancy camera or a new house or whatever? Isn't that a band-aid because we're just trying to make ourselves feel better about ourselves and not really looking at the core of why we feel the way we do?
Absolutely. And that means you're feeding your ego. I mean, there's nothing like having nice clothing. Don't misunderstand me. But does designer clothes make you any better than something that you buy, off the rack or, at Macy's or Costco or Sam's Club or BJ's or even Target or J.C. Penney or Sears or whatever, or wherever you shop? That make you any better? It's really interesting. When I was living in Boston, they had a store called Filene's, which was with like Nordstrom's. And they had a basement operation. And this is way back before they had all the discount stores. And I was in marketing and sales, so the vice president or buyer would take me down to show it what it's like. And they would take their clothing and let's say it was a $400, $500 men's suit. It would be half price because they took it from the floor. They didn't sell it. Then every day they marked it down 10% till it was down to zero. And then if nobody bought it, they give it away. And I found that I could have beautiful suits because I was in marketing and sales, had to make a presentation for pennies on the dollar, which was really cool. And, I could have a $500 suit for like $100. Wasn't point that it was $500. I went through the suit and liked it because I wouldn't mind buying it from Sears or J.C. Penney's or whatever. If it looked good to me, that's all I cared about. I didn't care about the price. But when you're in the store, you're always curious, so you go down to the basement and see what they have. So for pennies on the dollar, I was able to get something I liked. And there were suits that were $500 and $600 that were $100. I didn't like it. But I might go over to Sears and go, yeah, I like this suit. It was a lot less money. See, the point is, it's not the clothing, it's not your materiality that makes you, it's your heart. It's how you express yourself, how you care about this yourself, and what direction in life you're going to. Many years ago, when you got sick, friends would bring over soup, food, they'd look in on you and see that. We've lost all that. We've lost every bit of that because it's all out for themselves, unless it's your mother or someone else. And I was in the nursing home business back in Boston. And the family lived around the nursing home. They would see him on Easter, Christmas, maybe I'd have a New Year's party. As long as they served food and booze, they would see their parents. So 2 to 3 times a year they would see them. and went, how sad. You're a 10-minute walk away. Don't you even care? And that's where we become self-centered. And we forget who we are, what we are, and why we're here. What are we here for? Briefly, karma. Karma is nothing to experience life, and to experience how to create life. And we do that through discernment. We listen to the thoughts of our soul. Spend 10 minutes every day, meditate, and ask, what am I to learn? What can I do to change myself? So many of you, when you meditate, which I found out, I call it the monkey mind. I got to get the laundry done. I got to go shopping. I don't have time to do this. So the secret is, and there are many different meditation techniques, inhale dream and exhale heaven. You'll find if you do that, it will raise your vibrations. You may even get a little lightheaded. But after a couple of days, you're going to do it a little longer. And I suggest 108 times, but whatever you're comfortable with. And then the gift of discernment will be there of things that is important for you to accomplish in your life. I want everyone to understand that you're special, that you're unique in your own way, and you have so much to contribute to life, to those around you, and be an example. Be an example of unconditional love and allowingness and non-judgmentalness. Be an example how to overcome trials and tribulations, fear, doubt, anxiety, sickness, illness. Be that role model. And each one of us does that using the gift of discernment. Your epitaph will live in future generations. So thank you for joining us. And there's some things we'd like to discuss. And one of the things we'd like to discuss is that the second Saturday of every month, we have what I call the Mass Consciousness Healing. And it's from 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01. And what happens is when you sign in, you call in, we'll give the information. We talk for 2, 4, 5 minutes, maybe a little less. Then we do it in silence. And 3 minutes before, after we're doing our meditation, give a little talk and just thank everybody. And no sermon, just thank everybody, little music. But this is what happens. Whatever you do comes back to you. You know, you put out anger, you get anger. Put out love, you get love. You're sending out love and healing. What do you think it'll happen to you? It will touch your soul and your body, and you will feel the love and healing. So I encourage all of you. And if you join us late, we're in silence, don't hang up. Just know we're in meditation. Tia, why don't you give them how they can access this?
Absolutely. All you need to do is dial 202-926-1059 and the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound.
Okay, one more time. 202-926-1059 and the access code?
125-446-pound. Using those same codes every Tuesday evening Pacific time from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. we have called the Soul Awakening. And you ask any questions about spirituality, and hopefully I can answer them. Then I deliver a 10-minute message, and it's recorded. And I invite all of you, even if you're really experienced in spirituality, we can always learn something new, or we can remind us something if we've forgotten. And to access that information, it's the same as the second Saturday of every month, and just give it one more time.
Absolutely. 202-926-1059 and the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound. It's the same number, and I invite all of you to join us. And as I mentioned, I give these 10-minute little motivational thoughts. And we have probably 325. There's a way you can access these. You're stuck in traffic, you're angry, you're upset, had a rough day. Just play it on your phone. And how do you access that? Well, before you do that, you can access this on your phone by using this telephone number. So why don't you do that first?
Okay. It's 434 300 4170. And the code, Michael?
Access code is 125-446 #. And one more time, please.
Okay. 434 300 4170. And the code, Michael?
125-446 #. So it's going to ask you what number, and it's from 3 to approximately 325. Well, the question, well, which one should I listen to? Don't worry about it. Just say, I'll choose the right one. And that's what I hear. I didn't know what to listen to, so I choose number 112. Just what I needed to hear. Just do that. There's another way. And another way you can do this is you go to Dr. Michael B. Gross YouTube. And not only the replays of what Tio and I do, but also you'll be able to access some of that beautiful, what I call, words of wisdom. And there'll be a plethora of them, not all of them. There are beautiful photographs taken by an award-winning photographer. I think it's Tio. She's right in front of us. And there is a motivational thought, and then you can listen to it. And so you can listen to it and watch it on YouTube, or you can phone in. I would like all of you also to remind all of you that when you are watching us, and if you go to YouTube, push the subscribe button. And the reason I say that is because the more listenership that we have, the more viewership, there's an algorithm. And so what happens is, as our algorithm gets higher, we're going to reach more and more people. And that's so important, because I have to tell you what's happening on this planet now. One day it's going to hit critical mass soon. And you, as I say, are the solution, and you can make a difference. So I'd like you to know that. Also, I would offer anybody that's new a complimentary consultation, about a half an hour. And Tia, thank you so much for putting that information in the chat so they can all read it. So I invite all of you to take advantage of it. Well, just leave a message. I'll get back to you. I may be a little tied up, but I'll get back to you, and it'll be my joy and happiness to assist you. Well, one thing further. And the one thing further that I believe we have to do is talk about our books. Healing the Holes in Your Soul by Tia Knapp. It's a beautiful book about overcoming adversity, pain, emotion, being lost, and refining her life and redesigning her goals and missions and helping so many other women and men. This is a must read. I encourage you to do that. Before you say anything for a moment, Tia, I want you to know that in our books, we want you to read our books. You know why? It's not about the money. It's about opening your soul and understanding that you can create the life and overcome any adversity. Go ahead, Tia.
Okay, there's amazing stories in both these books, and I highly recommend that you start with this one. This is Dr. Michael Gross's second edition of the Spiritual Primer, and there's golden nuggets that weren't in the first one, but now you can get this one if you just contact Michael or contact me, and we'll make sure you get your hands on a signed copy of the second edition Spiritual Primer. And the only thing that I really, really want to say is, if it wasn't for this gentleman next to me and the book I'm holding in my hand, the book he's holding in his hand wouldn't even be in existence. Remember, we always want to leave a legacy for our family. We want to let the world know who we are and what we are all about. That's why we wrote these books. And if it, like I said, if it wasn't for Michael, that book he's holding wouldn't be in existence, and people would be missing out on another story. So definitely start here. It's truly going to be a life-changing moment when you finally read this. Okay. So on that note, Michael, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, one more thing about the books. It was on Amazon, and I've got to ship them some more, the new editions. But you can contact me through the telephone numbers, or you can contact me through email or my website, and I'll be more than happy to ship the books to you and sign them personally till I get them to Amazon. So I want to thank all of you. So in the coming weeks and years and months, use the gift of discernment and set aside the rhetoric and the lies in your life that you hear from others, and always seek the truth. Because remember, you are unlimited. Thank you, everyone. Know that you're loved. We love you. We thank you. We look forward to speaking with you next week. Tell everyone about this. If you have questions, forward them to me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Namaste. We
Namaste.
love you. Take care. Take care, everyone.